Before we dive into today's episode, I've got something special for you. If you are tired of feeling bloated by the end of every single day, even though you're eating healthy, my free 5-day challenge is starting April 13th. In just 5 days, I will help you simplify your meals, improve digestion, reduce bloating, and feel lighter without having to cut out more foods. You will get daily action steps, live calls, and support inside our private group, and it is completely 100% free. Enrollment is only open for a limited time, so grab your spot now at beyondbloated.com/challenge. All right, now let's jump into today's episode. Are you tired of feeling like your stomach has its own agenda? Like the bloating, gas, or constant trips to the bathroom are running your life? Welcome to the Beyond Bloated podcast, the podcast where we tackle those frustrating gut issues head on, without strict diets or giving up your favorite foods. I'm Carly, a certified gut health coach who's been there, struggling with bloating that made me look 6 months pregnant, gut pain that kept me from enjoying meals, and fatigue so draining it felt impossible to get through the day. Now, I help women like you find freedom from those symptoms and take back control of their lives. Each week, we'll debunk gut health myths, dive into simple, actionable tips, and hear stories from women who've been exactly where you are. It's time to feel confident, energized, and bloat-free. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Beyond Bloated podcast, or welcome for the very first time. Last year, around this time, it was May, I ran my first ever free challenge, and it was called the Bloat-Free Summer Challenge. And it was just a simple 5-day long challenge. So nobody, including myself, was expecting any miracles to happen. My original goal for the challenge was just to bring awareness to the habits that cause bloating in women beyond just what we eat. I was anticipating that participants of the challenge would see a few small improvements here and there in their digestion from really focusing on these specific habits for a solid 5 days. And then that would encourage them to keep going and also help change the mindset around needing to eat perfectly or eating clean, looking for that specific diet that they have to follow or the miracle supplement that's going to fix everything. I wanted that mindset to start to change, to start to realize, hey, we didn't follow a diet. We didn't actually change what we were eating. We didn't take any supplements. And I saw improvements in my digestion. So maybe I don't need to look for those things and I can just focus on my habits instead. If you've been listening for a while now, you probably know that I did all of that throughout my own gut health journey. I did all the restrictive diets. I spent thousands on supplements. I did tests. I saw specialists, and none of it really helped. So my approach in my programs and how I coach is much different than the standard garbage gut health advice that you will find online, and it's one that actually works. In fact, it works so well that the results from last year's 5-day challenge shocked even myself. So today I am going to share how small tweaks over literally 5 days can make a noticeable difference in bloating, energy, mood, and confidence. And I will share the real results from last year's challenge to prove it to you. If you already know that you want in on this year's free challenge, which, by the way, I run one free challenge per year. So if you're like, oh, I'll catch the next one, sure, see you in 2027. But if you want in on this one, 2026, head to beyondbloated.com/challenge to snag your spot. We are starting April 13th. And as I mentioned, it is a quick 5 days. So you do need to be signed up by April 13th to participate. So do yourself a favor, hit pause on this episode, go to beyondbloated.com/challenge, drop your name and your email. Boom, you've claimed your spot, you're in. And then come back to this episode to hear all of the amazing results you're going to get from doing this free 5-day challenge. The reason why this 5-day challenge was so impactful is because we focus on the habits that make the biggest difference in digestion. So you can see results quickly. These are also the things that most people do not do on a day-to-day basis. So if you truly dial in and make these habits priority for just 5 days, you can and will see results. At this point in time, I have worked with over 100 clients, and I have seen a lot of patterns and trends, and I know how digestion works. I know what the body needs to digest food optimally. And it's not about what you're eating. It's about the habits, the way you live your life that is either helping support digestion or it's doing the opposite and it is impairing your digestion. So it doesn't matter what you're eating. You're just not digesting food, period. So I have used that 2.5 years experience working with over 100 clients, plus my own 7+ year gut health journey to decide what habits make the biggest difference. If someone were to literally just focus on XYZ for a short period of time, they would see results. And that is what I have focused this challenge on, because I want you to get results. I want you to feel better, and I want you to feel inspired to keep going. So here are a few of the small tweaks that participants will be focusing on in the upcoming 5-day challenge. And these are similar to last year's. Last year's free challenge worked very well. People got crazy great results. So I didn't want to change that too much, but I did ask for feedback on what could be improved. And a lot of it was around the platform being used for the challenge, not necessarily what we were doing, but how to access that. So I have simplified things this year to make it very accessible to most people. It's simpler to use. There's less buttons, less clicks, less platform to deal with. So if that was a challenge for you last year, I have simplified things for you. And if you did not join last year's challenge, you automatically get the upgraded version. So yay you. Now let's go back to what we're actually focusing on in the challenge. First up, we want to be eating 3 consistent meals. This is huge. I often hear people say, I'm not a breakfast person. I'm doing intermittent fasting. And then they also say, I'm bloated all the time. I'm exhausted. I have brain fog. Those are connected. We focused on this last year as well. And I had women saying, I eat 2 meals a day, but I'm going to give this a try because what you are doing is not working for you. That is why you feel bloated and gassy and miserable. It's because your current lifestyle is not supporting digestion. And that's okay because you can change it. But you do need to have an open mind and be willing to try new things. When we skip breakfast, cortisol, our stress hormone, stays high. That is a terrible start to the day. Your body is running on stress until your first meal of the day. And if that is not until noon, you're going to feel horrible. You also cannot get enough calories in to support your daily function if you are eating 1 or even 2 meals a day. That means you're limiting your nutrients, your energy, the fuel for your brain. So you are going to feel tired, you are going to feel brain fog, and you are going to have digestive issues. Same thing goes for working through lunch. If you forgot to have lunch, if you skipped lunch on purpose, whatever the reason, you still missed a meal. This is impacting your blood sugar as well. Blood sugar is going to drop, and your body is going to produce cortisol and adrenaline to bring that back up. Now you're going to have anxiety, and you're going to feel wired and stressed and irritable. You're going to have cravings later in the day. So you're going to be reaching for the sugary snacks around 3-4 p.m. And you're way more likely to overeat at dinner because you are starving and your body is trying to make up for what it did not get earlier in the day. I have seen it so many times. Most women are under eating. And if you can eat 3 consistent meals a day when you're not used to it, you are going to see a massive improvement in how you feel. Even if it feels hard at first, showing up for yourself, eating those 3 meals a day is going to make a noticeable difference. And all I'm asking is that you give it a try for 5 days, which leads me to our next focus. We are going to be building balanced plates for all 3 of those meals, which includes protein, fibrous vegetables, healthy fats, and complex carbs at every single meal. And snack. If you have snacks, they should also be balanced. They shouldn't be a handful of chips or a cookie. This is a small tweak that my one-on-one clients always tell me is one of the biggest game changers for them. We are not taking food away. We are adding. We are making sure that your plate is balanced and has all of the components to keep you full and satiated, keep your blood sugar levels stable so you're not having spikes and drops, which leads to that stress and anxiety and cravings and moodiness later in the day. And it also supports digestion. I myself, if I just go eat a big old carb-filled meal without my proteins and my fiber and my veggies and my healthy fats, I'm bloated. And I bet the same goes for a lot of you, and you just aren't aware of it yet, which is okay, because for 5 days, we are going to be focusing on how to build those balanced plates so you know how to do it going forward. Another crucial aspect of digestion that almost nobody does is mindful eating. And it does not have to be as woo-woo as it sounds. All mindful eating is sitting down when you eat instead of being on the go or standing up at your counter, taking a few deep breaths to get out of fight or flight and into rest and digest, slowing down, actually chewing your food, taking your time, not devouring your meal in as quick of a time period as possible so you can get back to whatever it is that you were doing. This is one of the hardest things for people to do because we live in a very fast-paced, rushed, stress-induced society. Everyone wants to get everything done quickly. It's moving on to the next task. It's working while eating, scrolling on your phone, watching videos, because we need to be entertained at every millisecond of the day. And this is effing up your digestive system. Our gut and our brain are connected. I'm sure you know that by now. And the brain is what signals digestion to begin. Create stomach acid, digestive enzymes, bile flow. If you are stressed, that does not happen. If you are distracted through your phone or work or screens, that does not happen. If you are sending massive chunks of food down to your stomach because you're not chewing well, that's going to be really hard to break down. So now you're sending massive chunks of food to your small intestine, where bacteria are going to ferment that and cause gas and bloating and discomfort. It seems simple, so people don't do it. This habit has the biggest impact on my one-on-one clients. Over and over again, I hear them tell me, my digestion has improved so much just from eating more mindfully. So for 5 days, we are going to focus on it, and you are going to see a difference. As I mentioned, I ran this challenge last year, and it was similar. We focused on those 3 things that I just mentioned, plus a few others that we're going to kind of trickle in. Those were the big boys, the top 3. And I got a lot of feedback from last year's challenge. And some of the biggest improvements that participants mentioned after completing the challenge was they were having more consistent bowel movements, they had more motivation, felt more consistent, and had more focus than they had in a long time. Their energy was up, and they had better mood. And this was literally from a 5-day challenge. I have a quote from one of last year's participants who said, "I no longer start my day having to deal with a bloat that then lingers all day." That is what we want. That is the goal. And she accomplished that in 5 days. I was actually speaking to someone a few months ago who did participate in last year's challenge, and she let me know that she is still using some of the tips from the free challenge, and her digestion is much better. And we had this conversation over 6 months later after the 5-day challenge ended. So she did my 5-day challenge for free, saw improvements, kept doing it, and over 6 months later, when I reached out to her, she said her digestion is so much better just from doing a 5-day challenge that cost her nothing. At the end of last year's challenge, I also asked everyone what their biggest takeaway was, what was the biggest aha moment that they had. And someone said, that even making small tweaks can make a big overall difference. I feel so much happier this week. Her mood is so much better and she feels good in her body from just making small little changes over 5 days. The final quote that I will leave you with from last year's challenge, someone said, "Great value for something that is free," because it truly is free, guys. There's no catch. You join for free. You do the 5 days. You feel better. That sounds pretty sweet to me. Last year, the challenge was called the Bloat-Free Summer Challenge. So obviously, our goal was be bloat-free for the summer. And as I said at the start, I really wasn't expecting miracles because it is 5 days, right? What can we actually accomplish in 5 days? How naive of me. I had participants rate their bloating from 1 to 10 before we started, and then again at the end, 5 days later. These were some of the results. Participant number 1 rated their bloating a 5 out of 10 to start, and by the end of the 5 days, she gave it a 1. That is the lowest score you could give it. Participant number 2 and 3 both gave bloating a 6 out of 10 to start, and 5 days later, gave it a 3. That's cut in half in 5 days. Participant number 4 started with an 8 out of 10 bloating. 5 days later, gave it a 4. Again, we've cut that in half in 5 days. And participant number 5 started with a 10 out of 10 bloating. This is holy shit, this bloating is ruining my life. Please help me. 5 days later, she gave it a 3. These are real results from people who worked on their gut health for 5 days and it cost them nothing. We did not change what they were eating. We did not eliminate foods. We did not take supplements. We didn't do a test, and I am not a GI doctor. I am a gut health coach who knows how digestion works, and I know that you don't need to do all of those other things to see results, and we're doing it again this year. I know a lot of women feel like they don't have time to work on themselves. They don't have time to do the things. Well, good news. This is 5 days. I know that you can carve out some time in a 5-day window to get it done. We are making such small, manageable changes in these 5 days that they don't take extra time to do. It's just something you add on to what you're already doing in your life. It's very manageable. I had over 60 people in last year's challenge, and they are all busy women, business owners, moms, wives, full-time employees. They have lives, but they carved out some time for themselves to make a little small, tiny tweak here and there for 5 days, and they got results. You can too. If you're still sitting there thinking, I already eat healthy, I know, that's not the problem. We don't change what you eat because most people that work with me do eat healthy. I ate healthy for years and I was bloated and looked 6 months pregnant every single day because that's not the problem. This challenge is not about what you eat. I am not teaching you how to eat healthy. You already know how to do that. We are talking about how you eat because, as I mentioned, I've worked with over 100 clients and most people don't know how to do this part. We all know a salad is healthy. Great. We don't know how to space our meals, how to balance our plates, how skipping meals is effing up your digestive system. We're not restricting more. We're not cleaning up our diet. We're improving digestion at the root. That is what gets people results quickly. And if you're thinking, I don't know, sounds too good to be true. Yeah, it does, which is why I do this once a year. So join now for free. Get support from me and an entire community of women doing the challenge with you for 5 days. If you don't benefit from it, you didn't lose anything, right? But I'm telling you, if you put in the work and you actually give it a go for 5 days, you will see improvement. This challenge is meant to be fast and actionable so that the women who are busy and who want quick wins and who are maybe skeptical of working with me can give it a try, and it's not going to cost you anything. If you do want to take these wins further, I do have a 6-week group program, which builds on the consistency, and we layer in things like stress management, prioritizing sleep, movement, the whole big picture to help you get lasting long-term results. That's an option. It's not a, you have to do this afterwards, but that's an option for the women who want it. And for everyone else, if you are just satisfied with the free 5-day challenge, like the woman that I talked to earlier, who said 6 months later, she still feels great from that challenge, then that's amazing. I want you to be able to go out for dinner without fear and go on vacations without worrying where the closest washroom is at all times, and enjoy the events with your family and your friends without being the weird one who sits there and doesn't eat anything. So if you're even a little bit intrigued, head to beyondbloated.com/challenge before April 13th, which is when we start, to snag your free spot. In the challenge, you will get daily reminders, and you're also going to get support from me and the group community to implement these steps. And then by the end of the 5 days, you will notice a difference if you give this a real go. The main takeaway I want participants to get from this challenge is to realize that small tweaks, like eating consistent meals and balancing our plates and slowing down a little bit at meal times, actually do give noticeable results in a relatively short period of time. As I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to change the mindset of looking for that quick fix because I myself wasted so much time and energy and money, and it cost me so much frustration in the process. Why isn't this working? I've spent thousands of dollars. I followed this crazy strict diet perfectly for months. Why isn't this working? And it's because it never will. So if I can at least open your eyes to see by working on these things, you can see results, you're going to be much more likely to continue with it. And then you will get results, which is what I want for all of you. Last call, head to beyondbloated.com/challenge, register for the free challenge. It's going to run from April 13th to 17th, and you have to be registered before then to participate. We are using a much simpler platform and setup from last year based on the feedback that I got. So it should not be overwhelming. It's just a little bit of info, a little bit of support, a little bit of implementation, and you feel better. If after the 5 days, you're feeling like you want to carry this momentum forward, I am opening round 2 of the Bloat-Free method, which is my 6-week group program at the end of the month. So you are welcome to do that as well, but it's an option. It's not mandatory. It's there if you want it. So if you are ready to feel less bloated, more energized, have a better mood, more regular bowel movements, and finally understand why your digestion is not working as it should, join the 5-day challenge. It's free. I'll be there, and you'll have a solid group of other women who are working on the same things as you, which is really motivating. And that was one of my favorite parts about last year, was the group community aspect. So I really hope to see you there. If you have any questions about it, send them my way. You can reach out on Instagram at beyond.bloated or send me an email, carlyclose@beyondbloated.com. Hope to see you in the challenge, and I'll be talking to you next week. Did you learn something new and useful today? If the answer is a big, resounding hell yeah, do me a favor. Subscribe to this podcast. Even better, toss a rating in there too. It helps more bloated babes discover this show and lets me keep bringing you this free, gut-loving content every single week. And hey, don't be greedy. Share this episode with your bestie who's always unbuttoning her pants after dinner. She will love you even more for it. Thanks for hanging out with me and showing your gut some love. Keep on putting what you learn into practice and you will be bloat-free in no time. Catch you in the next one. Bye.